Tell me if this story resonates with you. You just got your first ever real camera and you are ready to get out in the field and make the most amazing photos that anyone's ever seen. Nat Geo will literally be calling you the next day, and yeah, you're going to be the next big photographer. If you were anything like me, you did go straight out in the field and you had no idea how to actually use the camera. So today I'm going through the archives, I'm looking at old shameful video, and we're going to see in this new technological world full of machine learning and AI, whether some of my old clips, my old shameful clips, are recoverable to turn into something respectable. So let's get into it, where you're going to use some new tools and we'll see what we can recover. So first, let's take a look at the clips that we're actually trying to restore here. I have picked out 3 from the archive, and we are going to start with one that I think should be a little bit easier. This is a land spout tornado that happened near Thurman, Colorado. This was from May 17th, 2011. It is very low contrast, so I'm hoping what we can do is not only upscale it to be a 1080p file, but we can actually bring out some better contrast in this video. The second clip will be another tornado. This was from June 6, 2012, near Elizabeth, Colorado. Again, the contrast is not great. I don't like the cropping, and maybe we can do some cool stuff with a time lapse to really show that rotation of that murky tornado. And then lastly, this will be the toughest one. This is a lightning clip shot from May 15th, 2010. This was down near Pueblo, Colorado. And what I'd like to do is convert this old school SD video. Can we upscale this to a 4K, 120 frames per second, amazing lightning strike video? That's gonna be tough, so we'll see. But those are the clips that we're gonna be dealing with. Okay, well, I've got our first clip loaded up here into Topaz VideoAI. This is going to be our main tool that we're going to use here today. We were going to also do something else afterwards, but we'll get to that later. But for now, let's take a look here at this clip, and I'm kind of just scrubbing through here. And one of the things that I don't like about this video is I'm zooming in all over the place. I'm zooming in and out, and obviously I'm standing there and I'm talking to my friends who I'm with, so I'm not really paying attention. It's just bad video all the way around. And so what I'm going to do is I want to find sort of a smaller clip of this. Like, I'm not going to re-export or reconvert the whole 1:10 clip. I'm going to just find the parts that I think are interesting. So I noticed here, if you scroll through, I go zooming in, trying to see the funnel up top, and then I go back down to the base where it's touching down, and I finally zoom out here where you get like a good view. Now again, there's a lot of noise up here in the clouds that I don't like. The funnel for this land spout is not really well defined. It's very murky. And if you keep scrubbing through, I kind of hold steady here. I finally get somewhat aligned correctly. And then I zoom in on the ground circulation to really see that motion down there. So I kind of like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to clip the part from like right here where we get like a good view of the whole land spout. So I'm going to go to the trim tool and I'm going to mark in probably like, let's say probably like right around like here. And then we need to make an endpoint, which again, I want to go in on the ground circulation, and then maybe we'll stop it like right there. So that's like a 10-second clip. So maybe let's get 5 more seconds on the front end. So we'll go to 21:15 would make it exactly a 15-second clip. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So let's apply that trim. So now we've got just a 15-second clip here. So let's take a look at what it looks like. This is the original. I'm actually holding pretty steady here. It's not terrible. And again, this was with an old school handy cam. This wasn't like a DSLR. This was like an actual like camcorder. Okay, cool. I like that clip. And over here on the right side, it's going to show us the original frame size of the clip. So shockingly, I don't even know if I knew how to make the camcorder do this, but I somehow shot this in HD quality. So it is a 1280 by 720 clip, so it's a 720p file, which again is not the best, but we can work with it. I also shot it at 29.97 FPS, so think of it as like 30 frames per second. This is drop frame. So that is incorrect for a 720 file. I should have been at 60. So that's all stuff that we're going to need to fix. I think what we need to do is, again, if we scrub through, there's lots of so I'd like to add some stabilization, and it gives you the options here. Do I want full frame or do I want to auto crop? I am going to auto crop because that will give us a little bit tighter zoom where the motion isn't going to feel as bad. And so then we can also go down here to enhancements. I am going to turn one of these on. These are all the different models that are in the software. I've read through articles about this, that Proteus and Artemis are kind of the two ones that you want to use. And again, this will show you sort of what it's going to do. So this is going to denoise and sharpen this, which I think is something that I want to do on this, because again, like I said, I don't like all of the no contrast at all, and there's a lot of noise up here in this cloud base. So I'm going to go with Artemis as my AI model, and then it's going to tell you what it's going to output to. So down here, this is going to output me to a ProRes file, a 422 ProRes, which again, if you're not like a video nerd, you'll know that that's a very high quality file. So I am actually going to go to an H.265, which is also an equally high video codec, but the file size will be a little bit smaller. You can actually generate a preview here, which will probably take a minute or two to actually, this is really high processing power stuff when we're doing video conversion here, and it's going to show you sort of a before, after, and I can tell already, look at the noise reduction from here and here to here. So we will let the preview here play and we can see the difference. So look at our stability is a lot better. Our contrast up here is better, but it's not quite what I want. But again, I feel like we will be able to fix that in our next step after this. So I like this. So let's go ahead and I'm going to stop the preview. And again, you can scrub through sort of frame by frame and see that comparison. And I mean, if you look up here at the funnel compared to over here where it's really noisy, I mean, it definitely is a little bit better defined, I guess. But I really like everything else down here. Seems more smooth. Yeah, it's just everything looks a little bit better. Okay, well, I've got our next clip loaded up here, and this is the tornado from 2012 near Elizabeth, Colorado. So I've got a couple of ideas about what I think I want to do in this. So let me, I've gone to the trim mode. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find, I think what made this tornado interesting was that as it sort of came out of the rain and became more visible, I thought the rope out was pretty cool. So I'm thinking we could maybe trim down and enhance the rope out stage. And then in post-processing after this, we can speed it up and make it kind of a cool, smooth, like sort of time lapse. So first thing I'm going to do is I want to trim down to the actual rope out phase. So let me scroll through here. This was all the tornado sort of building up. And then it came out of the rain there, and we finally got our good view. And this tornado did not last too long. So the rope out phase happens sort of right around here. And as we scrub through, you can kind of see what it may end up looking like as a time lapse. So I think what I want to do is I want to get to the part here where I zoom out. And that's kind of our in point here. And then we will find the out point. Oh yeah, look at that, it's roping out, it's still kind of hanging on. So maybe, and all the rising motion of the scud sort of around it is pretty cool. So maybe we'll go to right before I zoom in. So maybe this will be kind of our little area that we're going to enhance. So let me go ahead and apply that. And then you also notice I have this really annoying Scott Hamill ChaseCaseCo.net, my old website. Oh, memories on here. So we are going to have to do something about that as well. So yeah, let's take a look at what we can do here. So again, we are working with a 720p file, which again is a miracle. I'm pretty sure I didn't even know how to make the camera shoot 720p. I'm shocked by that. So that's great. But what we want to do is we're going to upscale this to a 1920 by 1080. And actually let's go set our, by default, it's always going to put you on ProRes. So I'm going to go again to H.265. And from here, then I should be able to pick my frame rate, which I'm going to go again. I'm not sure if I should go 60 now, and then we'll upscale it to 120 in our other software when we do the time lapse, or if we should just do 120 now. You know what, let's just do 120 now. So we're going to do 120 frames per second, which should really smooth this out. Again, are we pretty stable? We should be, because I was shooting on a tripod. So it should be pretty good. So I'm not going to do any stabilization. Maybe we could reduce some of the jitter. Let's go ahead and we'll mark that. And then down here, again, we're going to pick our model for our enhancements. I think the Proteus on this one to sort of fine tune and enhance sort of that murkiness. That's what I'm going to leave it with. And then the parameters, I'm just going to leave auto, and yeah, we'll see what it spits out. All right, so I've got our SD lightning strike footage here, and I just wanted to show again why this is going to be such a hard conversion, and I found a couple diagrams here that I think will be useful to visualize what we're trying to do here. So the first one is with the frame size. So right now, currently, we have an SD video, and that video is like this size. And we're trying to get all the way up here to a 4K file. So that's, we're trying to get up to be this size. So we are going from here all the way out here to a 4K file. And the software doesn't have that kind of data, right? So all we have is just an SD video. So while we're exporting it out to 4K, the software is sort of filling in this void as to what it thinks a 4K video would look like. So that's why I did the first export out to here, and then I did the next one out to here, then we went here. So I did it more in incremental steps rather than just doing one big export out to 4K. And then the other thing that is another big lift here is our frame rate. We're currently at 30 frames per second on this, and essentially what we're trying to get to is this. So I thought this is a good visualization to show that in order to get from this all the way to this, we have all these sort of blank frames that don't exist, that we're asking the software to sort of fill in those blanks for us in order to get to 120 frames. So again, that is where the AI really kicks in and says, oh, okay, you're missing all these frames per second, but I can analyze the video and I can fill those blanks in and get a really smooth looking video. So again, that's why it is such a big lift on this one to go from an SD file all the way up to 4K and make it 120 frames per second, considering that we're coming from such a not really a great source. So yeah, we'll see how it does. Okay, well, I am now here in my last step. I have brought all three of our recovered enhanced clips into the editor called DaVinci Resolve. It's a free editor, by the way, and I will show you something cool that it does. And why I have my clips here. It's got this little tool down here for color correction. Yeah, free software for color correction. Even if you use it just for this, it's worth it. I mean, it's free. So you can see all the sort of things we can adjust here. And I think of it sort of like adjusting raw photos like in Lightroom, except we're doing it for video. So this is what I've already color corrected this clip. So you can see here, I've boosted up the contrast. I've boosted up some of those mid details. Because again, I'm just trying to bring out the tornado from all the murk if possible. Again, this wasn't a horribly photogenic tornado, but still fun to work with. And then, yeah, there's all these other things that you can adjust, bring up and down. So yeah, that's color correction here in DaVinci Resolve. The other thing I did here is back on my timeline, I have made the time lapse of this rope out by right clicking on the clip. You can go to change the clip speed. So you can see I have boosted that up to 500%. So think of it as like a 5x time lapse, which then puts that at 120 frames per second. So that's what I've done here in DaVinci Resolve. Now the last thing I need to do is just export these 3 clips out individually, and then they will be here at the end of the video where you can see the before and afters. And overall, I think they have been enhanced. The lightning one I think is great. That is amazing. The other 2 tornadoes were, again, not the most photogenic tornadoes, but I definitely think the footage is improved. So hopefully you found this useful. I still think it's a good exercise, and it's fun to go back and look at old clips that maybe you haven't seen. And like some of these I haven't even looked at in years. So it's been super cool. Definitely brings back good memories. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoy the footage here at the end.